On July 1st, during TSN's free agent frenzy, they brought on Laurence Gilman, former assistant general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. And this guy has the title of capologist because he knows all the ins and outs of the cap. He is a cap wizard, a cap god, whatever you want to call him. They call him a capologist. And so using his knowledge of the cap, he deducted number values, cap hits for all the positions in the league. And he put together the most cap efficient roster using these numbers. However, he didn't actually put players to these names, he just put the number values. So what I thought would be a fun idea would be, hey, let's put some players to these numbers and see what this roster looks like. So using CapFriendly's tools of cap hits, which I'll link down below, I put together what looks like the most cap efficient roster according to Laurence Gilman. But before we do, I have two rules for this. First, we use cap hits for the 2017-18 season, as well as the $75 million cap. And the second rule, if there's no player at that exact cap hit, then we use the next closest available player. So for example, if there's a $5 million center that we need, and there are none in the league, then we grab the guy who might be the closest. And if that's $4.75 million, then we use that guy. So here are our values for our forwards, all the way from the first line center to the extras. And for our first line on the most cap efficient roster, at the first line center position, which has a cap hit of $7.5 million, we got two options, Jason Spezza and Ryan O'Reilly. And as you can see, I chose Ryan O'Reilly. He's extremely versatile. I think in my mind, he's a better player than Jason Spezza. He's younger, he's just an amazing player. I just really like Ryan O'Reilly. And he's going to be our starting center on this cap efficient roster. And at left wing, for $6 million, there are four great options. We got Milan Lucic, Taylor Hall, Artemi Panarin, and Brandon Saad. And of these four, I picked Panarin. I just think he's just a great sniper, won the Calder. He's an amazing player. I'm a huge fan of Panarin's. And that's why I picked him. I think he's the best player available. So he's going on our left wing. And on the right wing, at $6 million, there isn't a whole lot to choose from, just Louis Eriksson, Kyle Okposo, and Jordan Eberle. And of these three, I like Eberle the most, so I'm going to pick him. And that rounds out our top line. At the right wing $4 million slot, there is actually no player available, and the closest player at $3.975 million is Wayne Simmonds, so by default, we take Wayne Simmonds. And at the left wing, at $4 million, we got Dadonov, Bodker, and Hagelin available. And I picked Dadonov simply because he's the big wild card. He could be more impressive than Bodker and Hagelin. And as of recently, those last two, they trailed off in recent years. So again, that's my reasoning for taking Dadonov. And for our second line center at $5 million, we got Grabovski, Filppula, and Brassard. And in my mind, this is a very easy choice. You take Brassard since Filppula, he's getting buried in Philly right now. Grabovski, who knows if he'll play again. And of course, Brassard, he's a playoff monster. So we take Brassard, add him to the roster. Now we're on to our third line. And at the 3C for $2.5 million, we got Strome, Colborne, and Brock Nelson available. And of these three, I love Brock Nelson. I'm a huge Brock Nelson fan. So of course, I'm going to take Brock Nelson. Moving on to left wing at $1.5 million, there's actually no one available. But the next closest player is Johan Larsson from Buffalo, and he goes for $1.475 million. Since he's the only one there, we take him. And probably the easiest choice, $1.5 million right wing, there's only one in the league, and that's Brett Connolly. And since he's the only one, we take him. So we're now down to our fourth line, and for our fourth line center at $1.5 million, there's actually no one available. So again, we take the next closest player. And that is Derek Ryan from Carolina, and he makes about $1.425 million. For our fourth line, left wing, $750,000. There's only one that makes exactly that amount, and that's Colin Greening, so he goes on the left wing. And for the right wing, again, there's only one making exactly $750,000, and that's Tommy Wingels, so he goes onto the team too. Now for the two extra spots, this was probably the hardest choice, honestly. There is a whole bunch of forwards making $650,000 even. And of these, I picked Steve Bernier. He's got great depth, got that veteran leadership. You know, if our team's going to make a deep run, you're going to need him on that roster for injuries of all sorts. And our other extra forward is Matt Pekka from Tampa Bay. I like him. I think he provides good depth, so I put him on the team. So those are my two choices, Bernier and Pekka. Again, there's a lot of choices at that position, but hey, it's kind of up in the air, so I took those two. I really like them. So there's that. And now adding together the total cap for our choices, we get $42.175 million for our forwards. Next up, we got the goalies. And we can spend $6 million on the starter and $1.5 million on the backup. So we have two goalies available at $6 million, Corey Crawford and Corey Schneider. Two Coreys. What's not to love, right? This was an extremely hard choice, but I settled on picking Schneider, even though it was extremely close. Schneider had a bad year last year, but he's such an elite goalie. I'm a big fan of Corey Schneider. Corey Crawford's great too, but there's something about him that puts him over the edge, and I really like him, so I'm picking Schneider. Sorry, Chicago fans. And for our backup at $1.5 million, there's only one player, and that's Philip Grubauer from Washington. And he's an extremely solid goalie, so I'm happy with that choice. So for our goalies, our total goalie cap is then $7.5 million, which is about $3 million less than what Montreal is now paying for Carey Price. And we got two really solid goalies too. So now we're on to the D-men. Here are the defenseman values. So that's what they all go for, from D1 to the extra D-man. And for our first pairing, at the $7 million slot, only Phaneuf and Drew Doughty are available. And I think this is a pretty easy choice. I'm going to take Drew Doughty every day of the week here. And for our other first pairing D-man, at $6 million, Eric Johnson, Johnny Boychuk, and Mike Green are available. And of these three, I'm going to take Johnson to complete our first pairing. So on here, both second pairing D-men have a cap hit of $4 million, and those available are Yossi, Muzzin, Chara, Scandella, Bieksa, Russell, Martinez, and Fowler. And most of these guys are really good defensemen. So I'm going to pick Yossi and Fowler to round out our second pairing D. And even though Fowler did get extended past this, one of the rules we're using is cap hits for next season, so he still fits within this roster. Now for our third pairing D-men, we need players with a cap hit of $1.75 million. And since there are no defensemen available within those parameters, we'll choose the two closest. And that is Alex Petrovic, who has a cap hit of $1.85 million, and Braden McNabb, who has a hit of $1.7 million. And so that rounds out our top 6 D-men. Now for the spare defensemen, there's a whole slew of good D-men, especially up-and-coming D-men, available at $650,000. But I chose Matt Irwin from the Predators, since the D-man will surely get injured if this team ever played, and he has very good NHL experience and will be ready to step in right away and play. So that rounds out our extremely good looking decor. I have to say, I'm a big fan of this decor. I love it. I know I chose it, but I mean, given the parameters, like, this is a really good looking defensive corps. And the total spent on all these defensemen is $25.2 million. So adding together all our total cap hits, the total salary cap hit for this team is $74.875 million, which is $125,000 below the salary cap of $75 million. And also below the original total of $74.95 million because of some positions not having exact amounts. So that is the most cap efficient roster that I could put together. So in your opinion, how does this team look? What would you change? And could this team win the Stanley Cup? What do you think? Leave your comments down below, leave your suggestions to the team, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.